This is the Freedom Ring.
3 times is a charm.
Oh,
this is
boy,
the
I hope.
third time that we've started the show because Rumble, which we're normally live at 10:05 Eastern, Rumble usually puts us on. I see us on that screen, so that's a good sign.
Well, that screen doesn't matter because it's not been set up yet.
The fact that I can even see it is a good sign because I couldn't earlier.
Well,
hopefully we're live.
Hopefully.
And if we're not
we're
live,
recording it. Yeah.
We'll be posting it after the show. So I just say we do the show per usual and hope for the best.
I think we'll be okay.
Okay. But we have... what am I hearing there? I'm hearing other things in my headphones. Okay. This has been a train wreck today.
It's been a wreck, man. I'm telling you.
Supposed to start a half hour ago.
Thank you, Rumble.
If you are on Rumble, hello, thank you. Bitchute, YouTube, join our Facebook group and the Freedom Ring, at the Freedom Ring, and we've got the Gab search groups for the Freedom Ring, or drop us an email, freedomringshow@gmail.com. I'm at Toledo. That is Bill Spry. Some of the stories we're going to get to in just a little bit. The bad guys are turning on the other bad guys. And who in Washington, D.C. says he's been invited to orgies where cocaine is everywhere.
Oh, not in D.C., no.
And it's not like we haven't heard rumors about this stuff going on throughout the years, but to actually hear somebody that's there now confirm it. And as twisted as everything is right now, so that's why we like to start the show off with a little bit of inspiration, because the world is dark, evil, and twisted, and it's obvious that the world is in dire need of God to be present, and that's one of the goals of our show is to bring people together and bring you closer to God. And unfortunately, we have to expose all these dirt stories that are coming out of our nation's capital and the deep state, which is everywhere around the planet. But found this one this morning. Happiness cannot be traveled to, owned, earned, worn, or consumed. Happiness is the spiritual experience of living every minute with love, grace, and gratitude. And I personally find that if God is front and center in your life, that latter part is a lot easier to live and go through life with. Love, grace, and gratitude. So be grateful.
Absolutely.
Be grateful for one another.
Yeah.
All right, the first headline. This is not only about the deep state, but a pretty deep story. It comes to us from Mike Adams at newstarget.com. He says, embedded good guys are turning against the cabal. It's all coming out, and the awakening cannot be halted. He says he received a batch of new intel from U.S. military sources. Quote, what I'm told is that many of these people are, of course, corrupt, greedy bastards, but there are limits of what even they will tolerate. They're opposed to the pedophiles running the Biden regime, for example, and they are fully aware of the child trafficking allegations and the evidence found on the Hunter Biden laptop from hell, which, by the way, the FBI lost.
Oh, gosh.
You heard that story.
Yeah.
Where Matt Gaetz was, who from the FBI was he questioning? It's like the guy that's supposed to be in charge of not only dissecting everything that's on the laptop, but physically being responsible for its whereabouts.
I don't know where the laptop is, and you could physically see his nose growing as he was speaking, right?
And then Matt Gaetz just keeps laying into him. Are you serious? You're in charge of this department of the FBI, and one of your main goals right now is to keep this laptop in your sights. And he's like, no, it's not my responsibility. We don't know where it's at. And he goes, well, thankfully, and then he went on record and he held up
the hard drive.
Was it the hard drive or?
I believe it was the hard drive is what I had read. Yeah.
Yeah, the hard drive. I was going to say flash drive, but it wasn't a flash.
I wonder what the FBI guy was thinking at that point when he.
He had to crap himself right there. It's like, oh, that's great. You got. Thank God I do. And I noticed that the camera didn't go back on that guy after, because he probably went pale white and passed out. And
they probably had him out on a
This
stretcher.
is the FBI, man.
Oh, my God.
This is how corrupt our country is. These are the people in charge. You know, these are supposed to be the most upstanding citizens.
I want to
They are
know.
the most evil.
I want to know.
That's why we start this show off with that little encouragement.
Yeah.
There you go.
I want to know what the guy was thinking, the FBI guy. I'm stuck on that for a second. Can you imagine the paranoia when Matt Gaetz out of nowhere just pulls the hard drive?
Oh.
Well, I've got it.
Right. And then all the other people on the panel, or the up there, I guess up on the panel.
Yeah.
They're all stumbling on each other's words.
Yeah, I love it.
This is the government. This is the people we're supposed to be relying on. These are the people we're supposedly voting into office at that level. I mean, there's local people I still trust. In fact, we'll be talking to one of them tomorrow.
You know, one of the guys that I'm so increasingly thankful for is Matt Gaetz. He's a fighter, man.
There's a handful you can tell they're legit.
Yeah, Jim Jordan, he's a good guy, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In addition, they have a pretty good racket going, and they don't want the racket to collapse. This means they need to stop Biden from completely destroying the U.S. dollar and America's economic system. In other words, even those who voted for Biden, who are part of the corrupt bureaucracy, are realizing that if they don't stop this, America is going to be destroyed and fall.
Their family, I'm sure they're starting to worry about their own families.
Thus, out of a sense of preservation, they are turning against the cabal and hoping to preserve their positions of power in the process. Indictment papers for Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Hunter Biden, and Joe Biden are already circulating within the intelligence community. I hope these papers aren't being watched over by the guy that's supposed to be looking over Biden's computer.
Yeah.
Papers are circulating. Oh, great. Are they going to be kindling for someone's fire before anything happens? All the players are fully aware of the serious crimes of official corruption that have been committed by these people spanning several decades. That shouldn't shock anybody. The intelligence community influencers are attempting to prepare a way to remove Biden from power, publicly expose the Biden crime family, which I think is being done right now.
It is. Definitely.
If you're paying attention to the mainstream media, this is all brand new to you, unfortunately, but it is available everywhere. And still maintain some sort of degree of credibility for Democrats in the midterm elections. If this seems impossible, most deep state experts also agree. There's no way to expose all this without ripping the credibility of the Democrats. I find it hard to just limit it to the Democrats because, as I've said already, it's all organized crime.
It is.
It's the Republicans, too. It's
the rhinos. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the movie that I referenced before? Mark Wahlberg put a movie out in 2007 called Shooters. And there is a sign, or not a sign, but there's a scene where I think he's a congressman or something like that, a sitting congressman in the movie. And there's a scene towards the end. There's a shooting scene out in the mountains. They're up in the snow-capped mountains. And Mark Wahlberg is in white camouflage, and he's a sharpshooter. He's like a modern-day Rambo. And there's just a scene where this guy goes, you can't shoot a sitting congressman, especially in the back. But in that scene, he goes, listen, man, there ain't no Democrat or Republican Party. It's either you're in or you're out. And as soon as I looked up at my wife going, that is so true.
Yeah.
That is so obviously true. So when they say, is it, losing credibility, it's Washington, D.C. as a whole.
It's kind of one party with two names,
It
right?
is. Yeah. And what lobbyists got to them first. And that determines everything.
Yeah.
That's also where there is a contingent within the deep state that seeks to remove Joe Biden using another method, such as a false flag operation, so that he can be taken out, quote unquote, and given a hero's funeral. So I don't want to go down this road. I'm not even comfortable reading this, but because I don't want to see that happen. I'd rather see him just removed from office.
Yeah, or resign.
Yeah, and I don't think he's capable of doing his job. I don't think he's really doing his job. I do believe he's a puppet, but to put that F word there, funeral, I'm not comfortable with that. That ain't what I want to see happen.
No.
much like the official funeral for traitor John McCain, who was part of the Russia collusion coup against President Trump. You've got a lot more to this story, actually, don't you?
Yeah, there actually is a lot more to the story. There's another factor in all this that's weighing heavily on the FBI, the CIA, DHS, and DOD, and other security agencies, as Mike Adams says he's learned. Biden's new deal with Iran is going to flood Iran with billions of dollars in fresh cash that will enable Iran to fully fund a wave of radicalized suicide bombers who will be unleashed onto Western Europe by pretending to be Ukrainian refugees seeking protection in the West. Some of these operatives will also sneak into the U.S., which I think we're all concerned about, across the southern border, most likely pretending to be South American. For these reasons and others, the decision has been made within the intelligence...
Hold on. Is that why the border's still open? Has this all been pre-planned?
Well, it all has been pre-planned, probably for many different reasons.
But that's another reason to keep the border open, is so this can happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've been shipping all these immigrants in from all over the place. And as far as I know, they're still doing it. Planes arriving every night.
It's getting more and more. Again, stories, the news, mainstream media not touching it. It's scary as hell, man.
I know.
You gotta worry. You gotta rely on two schleps like us.
We're doing our best, man.
And there's other people, David Nino Rodriguez. You've got Mel K, Patriot Street Fighter,
Scott McKay.
Everyone trying to dig up this other information, and
X-22 is another too.
X-22 is a main source of information for me, and I mean, God, it's just scary. And to watch the evening news and say they're not touching any of this. It's really happening, man. Oh, you're a conspiracy theory. We hear it every day.
I know.
But if you're paying attention, all these stories, or what's been deemed a conspiracy theory, has happened.
It's happened. And is happening. Yeah.
It's time to put that whole theory aside.
But it's not happening on mainstream media, so therefore, like you said, if you've been watching mainstream, most of this stuff that we talk about, you've not heard before.
No, maybe that's why Will Smith smacking Chris Rock was staged, to give everyone some other eye candy over here. Why?
Yeah, so we don't look this direction.
Yeah. Well, you got that story. Keep going.
Yeah. The intelligence ecosystem is... let me back up. The decision has been made within the intelligence ecosystem to get rid of Joe Biden. It's only a matter of what means will be used to achieve that goal. Given how Biden's disastrous polling numbers are dragging down Democrats' chances in November, unless something radically changes for the Democrats, they will lose the House majority, and they'll lose House investigatory subpoena power, which Lord knows they don't want to lose that right now. The Biden loyalists are desperate to try and stay in power. Their desired strategy is to escalate the Ukraine conflict into world war with Russia, declare a wartime emergency, cancel the midterm elections, and rule with police state.
Martial law.
Martial law. This strategy now looks likely to fail, but there's still a risk that things could escalate quickly in Ukraine and alter those odds. Now, they're saying that there basically is a civil war going on within our own government right now. There is a better than even chance that Biden will be arrested and removed from power for the reasons you talked about earlier.
Now, I've been hearing that from there's Simon Parker, is that his name?
Simon Parks.
Simon Parks, yeah. And then there's who's the other? You watching
Ward.
Pantomime?
Yeah, Ward.
Charlie Ward.
Charlie.
He's been saying that too. That it's going to be arrested, and Queen Elizabeth has already passed away. And I can't.
You don't know what's true, but for me, it's like listen to everything.
Right. Dig a little deeper. There's facts, not facts, but there's parts of this could be fabricated too. But you gotta hear it all.
You gotta hear it all and consider it all.
But we do know that some dark crap is happening right now.
Yeah. It goes on to say that Biden is, there's a real chance that he will destroy America before there's enough internal consensus to move against him. What's clear in all this is that the regime's war against the American people has shifted focus. Now they're at war with other factions inside the government itself. In effect, we're watching an internal secret civil war unfolding by the day. You can expect all sorts of fireworks from this action as various factions of the deep state intelligence community will wage false flags, assassinations, blackmail, staged child trafficking stings against each other. These are some of the most vicious, immoral people on the planet. They are now unleashing their worst weapons against each other. And
as long as they're doing it against each other, and if it helps to reveal the truth and get this country back,
that's what we're all looking for.
I just want. How do you get that way? How do you become that evil?
I've thought about that, and I can't comprehend it.
Don't you want to live life where you don't have to worry about everything over your shoulder all the time, and just for what, a bigger paycheck? Just for more money, more power? How small is your penis?
Well, it's like,
seriously, how small is your genitalia to where you have to put forth all this effort to, people live under me?
It's kind of like, if you've got a job and you're working and you're making $30,000 a year, and then all of a sudden you upgrade and you're getting $100,000 a year, you find a way to spend that money, right?
Yeah.
And then when you go to $200,000, you buy another house. I can afford this. It's never enough. It's just never enough, unless you.
But the scenario you're painting there is. The people that are doing that, making $30,000 a year, and they're living in a nice apartment or something, and then they get $100,000, and they buy a house, and then they crawl up the ladder. They're not harming anyone else's life. Why do you have to harm people's lives for your power, for your...
Well, because once you attain it, you're afraid of losing it.
So I need to screw you and your family and everyone you've ever met.
Apparently, that's where they're at.
I'm so glad I can't relate to that.
Me too.
It's actually a good sign, because sometimes you'll do something, you question like your own worth and your own morals and stuff like that, and then like, I'm actually doing okay, man. I can consider myself in the good guy column.
I'm the guy that would rather help somebody than kill them because they're a threat to me and my power.
And what type of feeling do you get when you help someone? Just simply holding a door open.
Yeah.
Now, granted, there's people that don't say thank you and all that, but just the fact that you held the door open, or you helped someone across, or you helped load groceries into an older lady's trunk, that feeling you get, it lasts like 3 days. You feel so good about yourself.
Yeah.
And what type of feeling do you get when I just hosed an entire nation? Look at me, Mom. I'm a complete dick.
I know.
I'm so glad I'm not in that column.
I just can't comprehend it. I really can't.
Moving on. We were done with that, right?
We were done with that. Enough.
This is according to the Daily Mail. North Carolina Republican Representative Madison Cawthorn, he is the young, good-looking dude in the wheelchair, said the sexual perversion and drug use at the nation's capital on the popular TV show House of Cards is just like what he sees in Washington, D.C. So after they spew all that BS to you at the polls and they get your vote and they go to Washington, D.C., it's party time. I promised you what? No, I got an 8-ball waiting for me. Cawthorn, who's 26, was asked during an interview with the Warrior Poet Society how closely his experience with Capitol Hill aligns with the Netflix series. He says, being kind of a young guy In Washington, where the average age is probably 60 or 70, I look at all these people, a lot of them I've looked up to throughout my life. Then all of a sudden you get invited to well, hey, we're going to have kind of a sexual get-together at one of our homes. You should come. And then you realize that they were asking you to come to an orgy. Now, this doesn't surprise everybody listening, but to hear it confirmed, because we've assumed it since the Kennedys, right?
Yeah.
And their little, the Kennedy brothers with Marilyn Monroe and I don't know if they tag team. I don't know. Whatever. But now he's confirming that he's been invited to orgies. Quote, there's some of the people that are leading the movement to try and remove addiction in our country. And then you watch them doing a key bump of cocaine right in front of you. So they scoop it and they go, oh, by the way, don't do drugs. Speechless.
Yeah.
Speechless.
Absolutely.
This is from him. This is his quote. You can watch it or check it out. The Daily Mail is where that story comes from.
Well, do you remember...
Not on mainstream media.
Do you remember that nurse that received the serum live on TV and then she passed out right on TV?
Yep.
Well, there's still people asking, where is she? What happened to her? This is the latest from Natural News. How would everyone feel about
the jab?
Thank you. If they knew people were dropping dead like flies after receiving them. Tiffany Dover, who worked at Chi Memorial Hospital in Tennessee with over 20 years' experience, fainted on TV. Some of us saw it. Some of us have seen those videos. While she was bragging how great it was to get the killer juice, for lack of a better term.
So she was pro.
She was pro. Yeah.
Pro.
Yeah. Pro enough that she went up on TV and received it. Now, she's nowhere to be found, and the internet is rife with rumors she's 6 feet under, while the mass media scrambles to cover it up with another false narrative to save face for those deadly gene-mutating needle doses. Fake news is spreading their cover story for Dover, saying she suffered from something called, I'm probably going to mess this up, but vasovagal, where you faint from stress, and that she's perfectly okay living her life in absolute seclusion where nobody can verify she survived the deadly experience of getting the clot serum. The media claims Dover had a history of this overreactive vagal response to even minor pain, even though she said how great she felt just seconds before she passed out. and possibly died. Yeah. And now this is the same nurse who's worked for 20 years in a hospital where she sees blood and experiences stress every day, but she passes out. I mean, can you imagine her in the surgery room, like passing out from seeing the blood? Why did the group of several dozen nurses choose Tiffany Dover over somebody else to get the treatment on TV? If she's got a history of passing out from pain, why would they choose her? Because they know it could happen, right? And they wouldn't want that attached to the shot.
You're assuming that they thought things through.
Well, you would think so, especially with something like this.
There you go.
I know.
TH word again, and you're thinking.
My first.
Stop thinking.
Just watch the tube.
Just watch and follow. Fall in line.
Well, more evidence. Something nefarious is going on. Her Facebook page was taken down after 22,000 people posted "Rest in peace" and other comments about her being gone.
Now, if she was alive, you would assume. Oh, wait, no, I'm still here. Everyone, you don't stop tripping. I'm right here. Or post a video of, no, I'm all right. No. Yeah, I passed out because of whatever reason, but I'm still alive. No, none of that. It's just been removed.
The hospital swears up and down that she's fine, but every local news and mass media article about her has a video link that supposedly proves she's still alive, except that every one of those links is either broken or says no access allowed, or claims the video does not exist when you click on it. Tiffany no longer has any social media accounts. During a live news conference to promote the clot juice treatment, Dover got the shot with her surgical mask on, and then she stood up to take questions
because
from
that
reporters.
Works.
Yeah. Put her hand on her head, said she felt dizzy, sunk to her knees, and had to be caught before hitting the floor. I remember seeing that. Mm-hmm. The hospital running cover for this.
What city does she live in, or did she live in?
It was, did I say Tennessee? I think where it happened.
All right, so the local, one of the local news affiliates in whatever town she lives in has to be aware of this story.
Absolutely.
So why not send a camera crew over to her house, knock on the door,
and let her say, I'm still alive.
Film her that she's there. All right, take her to a secret location. If she just put on record, yes, she's still here. Here she is. How you feeling? Da-da-da. Do a little interview with her. Put to rest this story, and move on and post it to all the other major world news affiliates, CNN, whatever. Insert network here. Wouldn't that be a good way to wrap it up the story and prove that, hey, everything's fine? But no, that hasn't been done.
It never has been done, and that's been probably, a year ago? Almost.
So that leads, I don't think it was quite that long ago, but yeah.
It's been a while.
That would be a way to wrap things up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're behind the shot, you obviously don't want this story out there. And the easiest way to put an end to it is
bring Anthony Fauci out there and say, "Hey, we're sitting there, we're good.
Or find a body double, or
Jesus,
or a clone."
Here we go again. All right, I'm open. If you haven't already caught on, I'm open to hearing these stories. But he jumps on them all the time. We're going to find out, according to, this would be a story Bill would come up with, that we're going to have like a press conference, or just, Joe Biden is, delivering his daily speech or whatever, his update. And we're going to find out that we were actually watching the mechanical version of Joe Biden at the Disney, what do they call it? The Hall of Presidents. You ever go to Disney down in Florida?
Yeah.
And they've got every president ever. They're all on stage together, and they all.
Yeah.
I could see you saying, "See, I told you that's what it was."
Well, all I can say is, you remember when Trump, I think it was at one of his rallies, and he was talking about Biden. He's like, "I don't think that's him," and then he says, "He's shot."
Now, I take that as he is shot in, you look at an old couch that's not usable anymore. It's shot. The bed springs are shot. The carpeting is shot.
And I took it as what I heard.
I know how you took
many times 3 years ago, that he was taken to Gitmo. And look, I don't believe all of this, but I can't help but listen to it. And I do find it interesting. And I do find it something to think about.
Are you defending yourself? We're just having fun. I'm just busting balls, man. I'm just kidding.
No, that's where I'm at. It's like, you got to pay attention to everything and consider everything.
On a serious note, you do.
A good friend of mine told me, he's like, because I've seen the before and after, the comparison shots. I've sent you a few of Biden, and I'm like, that's not him.
See, I just think he's had a facelift. And I've seen the earlobe difference. If you go back 12 years and look at Joe Biden, then he's got a full earlobe, and then the one he's got today is not an earlobe. It's like
it's different.
It goes right into the side of his head.
Yeah,
it is shaped different.
It is shaped different, but further than that is, if you look at the shape of his face, because a good friend of mine told me, "Have you ever heard of plastic surgery?" I'm like, yeah, but that's his skull. That's the shape of his skull has changed.
They can do
especially
anything.
Down in this part of his face. I'm telling you, look at
Michael Jackson had chin implants. Because if you look at him when he was like 22, just the off the wall Thriller era, it wasn't the same. Like the year that he passed away, he had this like really chiseled. And it's either he lost a ton of weight, which of course he looks like he could have, but it was just like a protruding chin. So, I mean, anything's possible, man.
It is.
You could be dead on.
You know what? You think you're talking to Bill Spry right now, right?
Oh, it's Willis Chamberlain.
I'll show you my battery pack when the show's done, man.
As the Daily Caller reports, only 40% of Americans surveyed approved the job that Joe Biden has done through his first 2 years.
That's another BS, and I'm not talking Bill Spry.
For 40%. If this is legit, the 40% need some counseling. I'm saying that's more like 11%.
You think that high?
I'll be... No, actually, I don't. More like 8%. Marking the lowest rating since he took office. Just 16% of registered voters strongly approved of Biden's job, and 71% of those surveyed. Based on what? You're approving what? What has he just hit out of the ballpark?
They're probably asking about the flavors of ice cream that he chooses. Do you approve of
vanilla or Neapolitan? Oh, Neapolitan. I like all three of them. He's my man.
He's it. Yeah.
71% of those surveyed said the country is off on the wrong track. We're not even on a track. We're in the ditch that's next to the train track.
We fell in the deep, deep, deep hole. Black hole.
Let's see. That's enough. The rest of that story just make you sick. Are we going on to the IRS today?
Well, I've got one here on AOC.
Oh, jeez.
Hey,
let me read this spiritual saying we got at the top of the show again, because I can't handle much more. Keep God front and center. Remember to pray and treat people well. Good.
Well, AOC, obviously, she's a prophet.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You agree with me so far, right?
My roadmap is according to everything she says.
Well,
everything she says, and let me say it again.
Who acts like that?
AOC. So she is a prophet because she's admitting the Dems are in big trouble.
You think?
Ahead of the midterms. Her solution?
Maybe she's listening to our show. Man, the Dems are in trouble.
She's listening to somebody's show. Her solution, Biden should use executive power to ram through the leftist agenda.
Of course, yes, because we haven't had it rammed enough. We need more of it.
Yeah. She says, well, it says, what are the policies that she is advocating for? According to the Washington Post, they include enacting environmental protections, lowering health care costs, overhauling police departments, canceling federal student loan debts, and expanding protections for illegal immigrants. If not for the damage it would do to the nation, Republicans would probably embrace that because it would give them a better shot at taking the seats here in November.
Turn her microphone off. Just go away, lady. Why do we do this? Why are we doing this to ourselves, man?
I quit.
I could be fishing right now. They're getting like nice largemouth bass right up the road here, and that's where I could and should be. But no, I'm sitting here doing this.
We got to tell people what the heck is going on.
I've got one last story that that'll make you really happy about the IRS and what they really do with your money. freedomringshow.com is the website, and if you're not watching us live on Rumble, you're watching the delayed version because there was a whole bunch of technical snafus. Does it look like we're live right now?
I don't think so. And Rumble was just having all kinds of problems this morning, so we just went ahead and pushed the record button. And you'll get to watch it delayed.
And the majority of the people are watching it delayed anyway.
Yeah.
We're on Bitchute, YouTube. You can join our Facebook group at the Freedom Ring. You got the Gab search groups for the Freedom Ring. And drop us an email at freedomringshow@gmail.com. The IRS reportedly paid about $64 million in stimulus checks to dead people by mistake, even after a computer error was identified. So they were aware of it, and they moved forward. That's according to a Watchdog report. The American Rescue Plan Act, signed by Joe Biden on March 11th of 21, created a fund for stimulus payments of up to $1,400 to many Americans. The IRS sent about 44,900 such payments to people listed as dependents, but who had died prior to January 1st of 21. That's according to the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration. IRS management agreed that these payments were issued erroneously. However, IRS management did not provide their corrective action to address future erroneous payments. We identified 406 additional payments for a deceased dependent that were issued after we alerted IRS management. That's according to the Inspector General, saying in a report. Another 18,845 payments totaling $29 million were sent to other dead individuals. According to the Watchdog, it also identified more than 1 million other payments given to potentially ineligible people, including people who aren't U.S. residents at all, totaling more than $1.8 billion. Yeah, we really need to have faith in our government.
$1.8 billion.
Yeah.
So where's the money now?
That's what the question I was asking as I was going through this story, going, okay, well, there are a bunch of dead people. I can't imagine they cashed the checks. Where is it?
Could it be on Hunter Biden's laptop?
Well, the FBI wouldn't know, would they? Because they've lost it.
The IRS doesn't even know.
But Matt Gaetz, he might have it.
You would think that the IRS would step in and cancel all these checks. I mean...
Did you use the thinking word again?
Tag on it. I'm sorry.
Recommended that, let's see, it recommended that for any potential future stimulus payment, IRS officials should take action to prevent ineligible people from receiving stimulus money. The IRS agreed. One last paragraph here. The findings come after the Inspector General in a May of 2021 report on earlier stimulus payments found that the IRS, as of July 16th of 2020, had issued more than 4.4 million such payments, totaling nearly $5.5 billion to people flagged as potentially ineligible, including roughly $3.5 billion that was sent to 2.1 million dead people. At the time, the Watchdog advised the IRS to develop processes to cross-check tax returns to identify and prevent payments to people who shouldn't get a stimulus payment. But the IRS didn't agree, claiming that its systems couldn't use outside data sources to obtain the necessary information. The Watchdog said the IRS could use the taxpayer identification numbers it already captures. Quote, while this effort may require additional programming to retrieve the dependent information, we strongly believe that the IRS should consider these changes for any future advance payments that may be issued as improper payments related to dependents remains an ongoing concern. Is that my walk-off music? Am I accepting the Oscar too long? The IRS declined to comment beyond its agreement with the Watchdog's latest recommendations. You get the point.
So what was the total? Like $5 billion?
Yeah.
Missing.
$1 is too much.
Yes, it is.
And this is as if you didn't have enough reasons to hate the IRS, there's 5.8 billion more.
It's the Freedom Ring Show. We appreciate you tuning in. Sorry about that Rumble issue this morning. Kind of out of our hands.
Are we leaking too much sensitive information to where they're trying to shut us down?
We'll find out.
Find out tomorrow if they're allowing us to go live.
We will find out. You can catch us at freedomringshow.com. We do a show from 9 until 10 on ClassXradio.com, which you can catch too. That's a
music
FM,
related.
Yeah, music FM radio station here in the tri-state Cincinnati.
And Bill gets to play anything he wants because he owns the radio station.
Yeah.
I'll come in one morning, and I'll just say, I'm in the mood to hear this, and it'll scratch that and put that in. That doesn't get done at other radio stations, I guarantee.
And if you like deep tracks, classic rock, you'll love it. Be sure to subscribe to all of our channels, like and share. Want to get the word out that we exist. We're on Rumble, Bitchute, YouTube. You can join our Facebook group at The Freedom Ring. We're also on a page now. We started that yesterday, a Facebook page called The Freedom Ring.
Share everywhere. Yeah, not talking about the pop singer. Share everything that we put out, please.
Yeah, we want to get the word out. Also on Gab.com, if you click the groups button and do a search for The Freedom Ring, you will find us. And emails, freedomringshow@gmail.com.
Be good to each other. Dig for more news. And that's it. Rumble really threw us off track today.
Threw us off a little bit.
I feel like the Biden administration. Just off the rails.
See you tomorrow, everyone.
Be good to each other. Later.